Special Ops Lioness is based on a US military operation. We'll start with you, Nicole. What can you tell us about a lioness? Because here, of course...
It's football.
It's football, you see.
Or soccer, whatever you want to call it. But our England football team are called Lionesses, the women's team.
The women's team.
Oh,
so in terms of this programme, what is a lioness then?
Well, in this program, they're military, women in the military who are working for the CIA, who are undercover, and you follow their life story in terms of their family, their work, their career, the stresses of that. I don't play a lioness. I play the woman that runs the lioness program, and I produce the show, and say something, Zoe.
I will. The show centers around Joe, who
is Zoe.
Who it's played by myself, and I must have been probably the first lioness that Nicole's character Caitlin trained and prepared, and it is her program, and I run the program, and my job is to follow what Caitlin tells me to do, and I basically find young Navy SEALs or women that are in service that have great qualifications, and I train them and I put them through the whole Lioness program, and it's a whole program around espionage. And Taylor was deeply inspired by the women in service, and he felt that it was just time to tell their stories in a form of celebration and an appreciation for their work. And
entertainment.
And entertainment for sure. And
it's entertaining.
Absolutely. And you follow Jo and how she wrestles with the toll that this life that she's chosen, how it takes a toll on her personal life at home and her family and her marriage, but also how she's just unwilling to let a program like this down and let someone like Caitlin down and fulfill a mission, which is at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, that's the sole purpose of people in service.
You know what, Zoe, you've starred in some of the biggest blockbusters of modern times. I mean, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avatar, just to name a few. But is this something, because they're all very sci-fi, aren't they? Is this something that's a little bit different for you then?
It was very different. If anything, it was actually more aligned with my life, not because I serve in the military, but I do believe that as entertainers, I do live a life of some sort of service, you know, for the public. But being a full-time mom and a full-time career woman does take its toll. So when Taylor approached me and he sent me the pilot and he told me that Nicole was attached to produce with him, obviously everything in paper just sounded like a dream come true. And I did what every actor that's super insecure does. I self-sabotaged, I said no, and I walked away for a full year. And then it just kept lingering, you know, just the thought of being a part of a Taylor Sheridan project and working, you know, with one of my giants, and I called him a year later, and the thing about Taylor is that he never answers your text message. I know, you're a pretty tall lady, but he never answers your text message unless it's super duper convenient for him. So I was like, hey, about your show, did you cast it? And immediately I received a text back, and he was like, we're just waiting for you, silly. And so 6 months later, we were basically in Baltimore shooting.
Well, it's quite comforting to hear Zoe Saldana say that she also feels a little bit insecure sometimes. I feel so much better. Now, let's have a look.
We all do.
Let's have a look at the two of you in action.
Are you close?
Closer than we've ever been.
Contract agent or a lioness?
Lioness, sir.
We locate the wives and daughters of high-value targets, and we place an operative close to them, and we kill the target.
If we play this right, it is over before it's begun.
Her cover's low!
I can't do this. You need to remember what you're fighting for.
I'm all over that.
We were instantly invested. Now then, Nicole, a question for you on Twitter.
This sounds serious.
You're good.
What makes your character in Special Ops Lioness different from the other characters that you've played? What type of character
this was the situation where I wanted to come in and produce with Taylor Sheridan because I wanted to see how he does his work. He's an amazing writer. And so when I was talking to him about it, I said, well, maybe write me a role as well, Taylor. In terms of not a pivotal role, but not a leading role, because I didn't, you know, I'm also juggling kids and my husband and all sorts of things. So to be able to
I feel
produce
your pain,
and then
Sound like my wife.
I was like, I can't do
having this chat.
what?
Oh, so that sounds like my wife, juggling the kids, me, like...
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, we are
Well,
we're a
I
nightmare.
mean, you
I admit it.
definitely
We
are important. And so I mean, that's how it all started. And then suddenly Taylor writes dialogue for you that is extraordinary. And it was so fun to be able to get in there. And she works under the head of the CIA.
Yeah.
She runs this Lioness program, and it's very, very important to her that it succeeds because it is women and it's hers. And the thing that was fascinating about the character for me is the way in which these women can compartmentalize.
Yes.
There's a certain structure to the brain and the wiring of the brain that is very different to mine. But it's the ability, particularly with Caitlin, to be able to strategically know exactly what she needs, what she wants out of a situation, and never to react emotionally to something. Yeah. And that is fascinating
Gosh,
to me.
I wish I was more Caitlin.
Yeah. Well, she
We all
has
do.
problems because of it. But it's
right.
an interesting personality, which I think they do the screening for personalities for
They
this.
do, they
It's
do.
because you have to have a particular personality to do this job. I don't qualify. I'm just telling you. Don't either. No.
Do you know what?
But I'm fascinated by people that do.
Honestly, we've seen a bit of it. It is brilliant. Morgan Freeman also in it. He was going to come tonight. We gutted he couldn't make it last minute, but it is fantastic. It's on Paramount. Paramount Plus on Sunday, the 23rd of July.
It is indeed.
But I have to ask you, Nicole.
Yes.
Paddington 3. We're obsessed. In our house, we're obsessed. So you were kind of the villain in Paddington 1, then Hugh Grant. Now, Hugh Grant has said he would
one of
be
my-
happy to do a double villain team with you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in?
I would love to.
There you
Neither
go.
of us have
Yes.
been asked, but
You have to do
but
it.
we've always said, wouldn't that be fascinating for us to meet that way?
See?
I
Well,
think
you've said
I
it
would
now on the
kill
one
him.
show, so now it's happening.
Love it.
There we go.
Brilliant.
I'd beat
Done
him.
Easy.
I'd have him down on the ground.
I don't doubt you.
OK, right, it's time now to welcome two more guests to our sofa. It's the stars of the brilliant Good Omens, the angelic